Hi, I'm Gareth Evans. I'm a retired physics teacher, a pastor, a missionary, and itinerant for many years, traveling and speaking at youth conferences and pastors' conferences in many parts of the world. As I look back over my long life, I see so many stepping stones where God placed before me to direct me into walking into His will. I never saw them ahead of me, but I see many, many of them as I look back. And I'd like to share some of those stepping stones with you. Join me on this journey as I tell some of my stories. God bless you. As I tell you these stories, there will always come times when I think, oh my goodness, I should have told him that one. I forgot about that one. And the story today is one of those. I want to take you back to 1967, when Anne and I arrived in Hong Kong with our 3 little girls, all under 5 years of age. But I was going to teach at St. George's School, a British Forces school for children of British personnel. We arrived there in August, about 3 weeks before the start of term, and we were put up in a very lovely hotel in downtown Kowloon. And we had to find our own accommodation. A teacher was allocated to us who took us around to several apartment buildings, the 24th floor, and we'd look around and Anne would shake her head and would say to the teacher colleague, where will our children play? And he said, well, there's a roof garden on the 50th floor. And really, we were not at all pleased with this. Well, as our colleagues in the hotel, our other teachers were finding their places, we had not found a place. And the start of the term came and I had to go to school. And I confess, I said to Anne, you're going to have to make your mind up. You're going to have to decide somewhere. We can't stay in this hotel. We can't afford to stay here. But she was determined she didn't want her children brought up in one of these apartments. And now my wife at the time was very, very shy. It's hard to believe now she's such an outgoing person, but then she was very shy and very protective of her children. And so while I was in school in that first week, she did something so unusual, so unlike her. She went down to the foyer, got a newspaper, looked up the advertisements for apartments to rent, and found a box number. She wrote off the box number and got a reply a few days later by phone. A lady invited her to come out, gave her the address of this apartment. Anne goes down on the busy Kowloon streets and thumbs a taxi. It's not like her. And not knowing where the taxi would take her. At that time, Hong Kong was a very dangerous place. There were many areas of the city that we were not allowed to go because Chairman Mao was still in power in the mainland, just across the border, and there was lots of violence happening in Hong Kong at the time. But she took a taxi to who knows where. And she arrived at this very beautiful apartment or building behind a 10-foot high walls, 2-story building that consists of 3 apartments. The family were living at the back. The downstairs apartment was a family who owned a very successful jewelry store. The wife was an Australian actress, and they actually made films from this place where she was living. And the apartment for rent was the first floor. So Anne rang the doorbell and the servant woman came out and took her in and showed her this place. Such a wonderful place for the children to play. The entrance downstairs was an indoor hallway where they could play should it be raining. And the apartment upstairs was quite magnificent. The lady of the house, Janky, came and she showed her around the apartment. And Anne's thought, oh, we've got to get this place. We have to get this place. But of course we had to get approval from the military. And should the lady allow us to have this place? So Anne then said to Janky, she said, could you telephone for a taxi to take me back the 3 kilometers to my hotel? And Janky said, no. She said, I will drive you back. And on the way, she says to Anne, do you know, she said, I've been praying to God to bring me the right people for this place. And I believe you are the right people. Turned out that Janky was a Christian, the only Christian in her family. And she'd been praying for quite some time for Christians to come to this apartment. So Anne then, when I got home, of course, she was very excited to tell me about this place, and we found out where it was. It was within 2 blocks of my school. I could walk to school every day from this apartment. We presented it to the army, and after a little bit of hesitation, because it's so out of the ordinary for places that they would support teachers in, they approved us to have that apartment. And we moved in. It was wonderful for our children. Furthermore, our back gate led into a park where there was a very high-grade children's playground. We didn't even have to cross a road to go into this park. We had the place and secure of the walls inside where the children could play. And then we had young women who would come, young servants, to help us during the heat of the summer, and they could take our children out to the park in absolute security. It was a magnificent place. Just add a little bit that the first Christmas we were there, we were at our church and a British helicopter carrier came into the docks, and a number of the boys came to the church on Christmas week, and we discovered that some of them were free on Christmas Day, so we invited them to our place. Our apartment was so large that we had up to 30 naval men being there for Christmas or New Year's to have a meal with us and to enjoy our children and to play. And there was plenty of room. That could never have ever happened in an apartment. God took us to the most beautiful place in Hong Kong for us. Needless to say, we were the envy of all the other school teachers and most military personnel, because the place that God provided was far superior to anybody else's. God is so good.